Hello and welcome to CCE Saturdays. My name is Prasanjit and today we'll discuss about cloud learning and certifications. And to do that, we have someone special here. With us is Chirag Nayyar. Chirag is an established cloud professional. He works with pre-sales at Cloud Kinetics Singapore. Chirag aims at helping businesses to adopt cloud platforms efficiently, and he helps people start their career journey in the cloud as well. Chirag has experience in working on multiple domains to design the cloud roadmap by providing solutions design and training to enable teams for better cloud understanding and visibility. Apart from that, Chirag has delivered lots of talks in multiple public events. Above all, Chirag is also a multi-cloud certification holder. He encompasses all the clouds, AWS, Google Cloud, Alibaba Cloud, and Microsoft Azure. Chirag is also MVP with Alibaba Cloud. And for this very reason, Chirag is here with us to discuss cloud certifications and learning, the necessity of these certifications, benefits, and the methodologies for preparing for these certifications. We hope this conversation will help those who are looking forward for a cloud career or looking to get useful inputs for their multi-cloud certification journey. So let's get started. Welcome, Chirag. It's nice of you to join our community of customer engineers. And more than that, it's a pleasure to have you here speaking to us.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Prasanjit, for the invitation, and especially I'd like to thank you and the other people who are motivating to build a community which is targeted especially for the customer engineer or cloud engineer, as well as covering the sales and pre-sales part. It's my pleasure always to speak and share my views and whatever the learning I have from last 7 to 8 years. I'm looking forward to have a awesome and useful conversation for everyone.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for being here and sharing your experiences with us, Chirag. All right, Chirag. So to begin with, we can start by you telling me, what got you interested in cloud? What was the motivation and what was the circumstance? Because normally computer science graduates would come on and move on to a career which is a development career. Like most people become developers in IT. So what made you jump into cloud right from the go?
Sure. So this is like a very important question, as you rightly mentioned. The one point that most of the computer science background or the people who do the IT kind of colleges or their graduation or maybe post graduation, they are most of the time they think that their landing job will be the development part. But I think that is where I try to take a decision very early days of my college that I think I was not good in the programming, but something else for me. So I need to do the research, and then I found something. There are many fields apart from the development or programming world. There are, you can say, nitty-gritty, because programming, I can say, the one part of the journey, but there are many other things required to run the entire a production level application. Right. So from there, I start developing my thought process, and I can say the interest part. It's a small story I would like to share, because it was a very early days, 2011 and 12. The smartphone era started for people like me, because I got my first smartphone, the iPhone, and I see the application name Dropbox. So I was curious, okay, because I have no idea about what is the different kind of storages and all this, but somehow I found from Dropbox, I learned to the case study, and it was hosted or still did, I think they are using AWS. So I have landed to AWS. But when we talk about Amazon, the first thing came in mind about the bookstore or the e-commerce kind of thing. But it was amazed that something known as AWS, and I tried to know what is this virtual server. So little bit of my first level of exploration, then I understand there are some traditional provider who are giving the domain name and hosting. So that was just a
Yeah,
one click.
because in those days that was big, hosting it on cloud, putting your files with FTP, and just having a
Yes,
website up there. So cloud was
right.
just starting of
It's a very
2010.
very early days. So
Right,
then that was just maybe a first time interaction. I had something known as cloud, and Amazon is there. And
right.
then in my college days, I was the part of a big Dream Spark program,
Hmm.
and it was by Microsoft. So in that program, I got a few credits and MSD and Access, which is Microsoft Developer Network, and then they provide the credits. At that time, the platform known as Windows Azure, which is nowadays known as the Microsoft Azure.
Right.
So I come across from that, and it was a good learning curve because I got the resources, and that is where, like, while completing my graduation, I made my mind that okay, no development for me, because a development kind of career for me, because I am not feeling myself fit in that, and this cloud is going to boom because person like me, I just done some kind of a internship, and I got an opportunity to see a big data center, and I was so confused that oh, I don't want to play with all the hardware switches and wiring. I don't think that's a cup of tea
That's
for me.
great, man. So
Yes,
AWS got you started and Azure got you interested into cloud.
yes, yes, because at then as a student, and yeah, I got a free credits every month, $150. So some learning. It was a very early days. A lot of trainings from provided by a platform named Microsoft Virtual Academy. I don't know whether
Right.
they have. I think they have renamed it something Microsoft Learning or something.
Yeah.
But I have watched many videos. I have no idea about like what's going, because at that time as a student, little bit of academics, little bit of understanding, okay, something networking, some virtual network going on, some
Right.
storage
These
disk is
programs help a
gone.
lot. Like these programs
Yes,
help students a lot. Nowadays, Google Cloud also does a lot of these kind of programs
right.
for college students. Right.
Yeah, so from that area, like it started then, like even in my college days, I started using AWS. I signed up for that free tier account, and then early days of Google Cloud, especially when the compute engine was in beta. So
Mhm.
in that, like I was playing, because what I understand from Windows Azure come Microsoft Azure, and I was trying to understand, okay, virtual machine is virtual machine, be it here, there, maybe terminology, some sizing, something nitty-gritty things may be different, but the fundamentals are same. So
Right.
I made my mind, yes, I want to pursue with this, and this is going to be boom. I try to do more and more research as the market started going and growing, and I started joining the in-person events in our country. So I traveled across the country even in my college days to join the in-person event, to see the different case studies. Even at that time, I was not able to what I can say understand each and everything, but it was always fascinating for me. So that's where like I decided, for me the career will be in cloud. Else not, I will put an effort, and to start my journey, it took me a time, because before that, once I completed my background is computer science
Right.
in my graduation. So I appeared for a couple of interviews. So most of the time I'm getting, if you can start with a Python or Node.js developer. If we see any project coming for the cloud, then you can say. But I think
Right.
that's what my learning curve, because I didn't drop my mindset at that time. I said no, I want a full-fledged, maybe cloud-oriented organization, and that's where like my interest till date, like it's a everyday new, every time it's a new learning curve, because it is a growing lot
Absolutely.
of new technology enhancement came into picture, which is giving the opportunity to
Mhm.
work in a much maybe a deeper and advanced way from the
Right.
same thing where all the fundamentals are. So yeah,
Right, Chirag. So that was a long journey from your student days to learning different cloud technologies and moving on. And today you have more than, I think, 25 certifications in more, all the different clouds. So,
yes.
so that's a great achievement. Now, what made you take on multi-cloud? So, what was the motivation behind it? Why did you think, okay, why not specialize on one particular cloud? Say you started off with Azure. So, why didn't you just stick to one and specialize there? Why did you
Okay.
decide to become a generalist? And why did you feel that multi cloud is better? And should people now prefer multi-cloud certification, like say one architect certification from each cloud, just to know the overview of all of them? What should be the approach, and what is your view about it?
Sure, sure. So maybe I will take this one by one. So let
Sure.
me share again, as I mentioned in my journey as a college, fresh graduate
Right.
enthusiast. I was exploring like each and everything, whatever I'm grabbing, because there was a time in our life I think most of or all of us somehow came across this phase of life that we think that I'm in that situation that I can learn everything and anything. So the same
Right.
situation with me, I thought, okay, AWS, I know there is EC2, there is S3. Microsoft Azure, virtual machine, blob storage, this and that. And the same with GCP, compute engine, cloud storage, app engine, three, four things like that. So I was running parallelly each and everything, but I am not trying to deep dive in anything. I am just like trying to grab the fundamentals to understand like what actually the value proposition of
Right.
cloud,
Right.
and then that is where I think the important decision for I think everyone, regardless of the experience or the fresher, what you actually want to do. That is the most important thing here. Like as your professional career, what kind of job role and what is your desired organization. That is the most important. I think a call which I took few years back, and I understand. I try to figure out like what is this partner ecosystem. So one is you can say the technology company, which are maybe inventing, doing R&D, enhancing the previous layer of technology or previous version of technology and presenting in a maybe more advanced way or easy way. That is where the cloud is, because as I mentioned, playing with the wires and switches, it may be not everyone like it, but the people who are passionate about it, they are doing this so happily. For me, like because I started playing directly, okay, VPC, I only need to know the private subnet range, RFC 1918, and public like the
Right.
what I can say, what will be the public subnet, how the routing work, what is the internet gateway, all
So
these
you
things.
do not have to
So
deal with a physical router. You just
yes, yes.
have to
So
uh, do the virtual configurations, right?
exactly. So that is what the enhance. So that is where like I took a call and I figure out the partner ecosystem, which is you can say the SIs, or there are some global SIs there. So it depends upon a person to person what and where he or she want to see like as their desired job. So that is where like I took my decision and I entered into the partner ecosystem. Until that I'm working in the same organization. I have changed couple of roles. I joined as a sales guy. It was like
Okay.
my first role was a field sales or sales lead, and I moved from my native place to the eastern part of India, and I started my career there from the day
Right.
one. And it's something that being as a partner ecosystem. So if the partner is serving or doing, you can say, the consulting work for multiple cloud, that is where I think my exploration in my college days about GCP, AWS, and Azure will help. And because being as a front end, uh, customer is also getting educated, so customer can ask you difference between or which cloud will be optimal or which cloud be best for their use case. So that is what like drive me to learn again from the fundamentals, not every and each and every service provided by each and every cloud provider. And
Right.
so that is what like till I'm doing to build. You can say even the specialization. If you say in the one cloud, what I can say even in the one cloud, there are the different layer or formerly known as IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, or there
Right.
are many. But there in that, like I say, what I can say, I segregate lift and shift, where the migration part, then app modernization, where the newer technology and the DevOps, CI/CD sweetness come into picture, and analytics is there. So I
Okay.
segregate the specialization in that way rather than the cloud specific. So I pick that cloud
Yeah.
migration part.
So
I pick
you are completely cloud agnostic. Wherever it fits for that particular use case, you will go with
yes,
that cloud. So that is your
right.
thinking. Great.
Right. So that helped me to drive the roadmap for the customers. As mentioned, that I played a pure sales role. So it's not
Right.
that I'm daily hands-on there, hands-on guy. It was like something. day-to-day job is talking with customer, understand, figure out, doing the right probing, figure out the set of problem, like what is the actually they are facing and what will be the journey, what will be the TCO part, and
Great.
being a part of multiple communities, and you can say the meetups and such thing gave me a trigger to learn the technical part for my own development, which is helping me. So it's something like weekend. I am a sorry week. Yeah, weekend. I am a technical guy. I'm trying to learn because computer science background here helped me because I have a fundamental of
Right, Chirag.
programming.
And sorry to interrupt you. Like here, you talked about the TCO part. Maybe we'll have another session later on and we'll deep dive into the cost of ownership and how to do that, because that's a very
Sure.
interesting topic for most of those who start out with pre-sales, and the customer is actually more interested in that part. More, even I have seen most cases, even more than the technology or whatever you do, they are more interested in the cost of ownership and how much they are going to spend, right?
Really, it's itself, I can say a big field. I have a very nice experience. I can say I spent many sleepless nights to crack the bill, to give them the maybe the
Right.
cost comparisons, and maybe making a TCO report, let's say if any kind of a large scale migration. So yeah,
So that
I'm pretty
that
much
one is
familiar with
for
this.
another day.
Yes, that's for another time. Just give you a glance. So yeah, so like coming to the point. So so what I can say, the decision which I took, which like which organization and what kind of role I'm looking for, it helped me. It gave me a motivation to learn from the
Mhm.
one specialization area, and then like again the focus is always on fundamental. If you
Right.
learn the fundamental clearly, then beat any cloud platform, it remains same, only the terminology or little bit of, you can say the not a strategy,
Great.
but
So
what I
you
can say,
looked into the technology instead of the platform. And then,
yes,
because if the technology and fundamentals are right, it can be applied to any cloud platform. So
yes,
that's the
even in
way
those days
you look
I
at
can
it.
say few cloud platform came as well as vanished from market. Giving the example of VMware also came with the public cloud offering, HP
Right.
also came. So I explored that because I understand what is the virtual machine, what is the VPC, and just the terminology is different, but at the end things will, Linux will be Linux, Windows OS server OS will be Windows Server OS. So only
Right.
thing is, yeah, little bit of configuration, terminology. RDP is RDP, SSH is SSH. So that is where I always follow the strategy and try to do. Now coming to the second part, you ask about the certification.
Yes.
Again, I can share in my college days, I think, completed 6 to 7 certification even before graduating. I'm the very early adopter of GCP when GCP don't have the present set of certification like professional cloud architect or data engineer. Before that, they revise their entire certification portfolio 2 times, and I have
Yeah,
like
Google Cloud. So this is around
yes,
2014, 15, I think.
yes,
Yeah.
so I'm those like those days of early adopter of those certification, as well as in December 2014 I have appeared for the first Microsoft Azure certification when it was very early days, again the
Right.
late, what I can say, the first time they released the Azure set of certification. So now after joining or started my career, I come across a different level of experience, and my perspective got changed about the certification, that how I can leverage. So doing the multi-cloud certification, again, it depends. If your fundamental core is clear, maybe certification may not required. If really depend, again, the talking about my previous question, that uh, if you decide like what you want to do, which organization is your desire and what kind of role, or if that organization demands that a person, he or she need to be certified,
Mhm.
then go ahead, you can do, depend upon, if you are architect, you can do that. If you are a developer, if you think it will give you a, what I can say, if you it will give you a kick to do study, to do some kind of a targeted study,
Correct.
then go ahead.
And
Maybe
Chirag, a quick follow-up question here. Like, do you think certifications will judge the real knowledge, or someone should have practical knowledge before appearing, or just go to the books and get a certification and then start out, or both way it works? What is your feeling about it?
sure. It's like a Kind of a very tricky one because I came across a both scenario that I mentioned before even starting
Yeah.
my professional career, and I have a 6 to 7 certification, but I have no real experience. I really don't know apart from cloud what actually is. But after working, handling a good customer use cases and being the part of customer journey in my career, entire mindset got changed, and then like yes, doing from just a theoretical you can get the certification, but the expectation will be then different from your employer or from the customer side.
Yeah.
Then you
Right.
should know the things. If you able to justify, then it's easy, but the other side is if you really hands on, maybe certification will be cup of tea. Again, there are a different level of certification, or nowadays
Yeah,
it's
even
called rule book
sometimes you're right. Like sometimes you can, even when you are starting out, you can just have the certification first and move on to the real work, so that at least you know the concepts before doing the real work. So that way also it helps. Other way around is, I mean, it's natural. Like if you already worked on the cloud and you just want to get an endorsement by giving a certification exam, then nothing like it. But yeah, sometimes when some freshers or someone starting out, certification is a good way to judge himself and then start working. You're right.
Yes, maybe, yeah, I would like to add. Doing the really fundamental level certification, I don't think for that hands-on experience required. And I think it is just kind of a, maybe the trend is in market. Fundamental level certification is provided by all the cloud provider, but I think that can be targeted towards the non-IT people. Let's say some experienced sales rep is coming from a different industry vertical, and he and she want to join the cloud journey, or they start their cloud journey. That is where maybe fundamental level. But if you are technical background, if you've done some technical academics, I don't think the fundamental level, it can just give you the experience, because experience of what a professional exam look like, it's not an academic exam. But
Right.
if you are a experienced techie or in the tech field, i I personally feel maybe it will not add any value, because it is covering a very fundamental level of thing. If you really want to test, then go for the advanced level certification, for which a person need to really put effort personally. A person need to really do some labs, do the some, I can say, a person need to really leverage his and her own experience around that field, that if the person is in the situation, how he or she is going to handle the scenario or the problem. So I think the professional level certification is targeted towards that. All the cloud provider is having their different level of certification, and it's come with a, what I can say, a good experience if you really know what you want to do and what you are supposed to do, rather than just reading a book or some here and there, maybe stuff available on internet. If you really
Right.
know, then for sure exam is just a cup of tea. I have appeared almost 40 plus exam till date in last 8 years,
Wow.
and
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So ranging, it's not only cloud. I appeared for a Windows Server 2012 R2 certification also, because I love Windows Server. I love Active Directory. It's my personal field. There is nothing like Active Directory in this world, and so I have explored this. It gave me helped me to understand the DNS in a different way. Then I understand, wow, without DNS, entire internet is nothing. So
Right.
these kind of small important thing like help me to clarify a lot of basic things, rather than I'm just jumping and talking about scalability, auto scaling, and high availability, and all these things. But if I don't understand what is the major role, or like what is the role of DNS here, I think maybe the
Yeah,
entire
so
architecture
it
may fail.
helps you set your fundamentals correct so that you can solve any problem after that. Yeah,
Right.
that's right. So you have appeared, like as you said, you sat on more than 40 certification exams, and now we have these three big cloud platforms, maybe Oracle
Mhm.
also, apart from GCP, Azure, and AWS. So, did you find any particular, like, are all of them similar, or a particular platform is very challenging and you would suggest don't go for that, go for this, or you don't have any view, like anyone can prefer based on his own workspace?
Sure. So that is the reason like I have appeared for most of the exams, since like they start releasing the exam. In some exams I failed also, and maybe a next attempt I passed. So it depend. Okay, so I will take it in a two different way. One, you said the exams, now most of them are same. Here it's my, again, my
Mhm.
observation or opinion. AWS set a benchmark, and I see Microsoft and GCP entirely revise the way the exams are. If you know that Microsoft has having the kind of what I can say, some kind of a title based like MCSA, MCSE, something like that, and it consists of 2 to 3 exams. After that, you will get a badge. Okay,
Right.
but in 2016-17, Microsoft understand now they have a administrator level exam, developer role based exam, as engineer role based exam, as well as architect role based exam. The same situation happened with GCP. GCP come up with the 5 exams in 2014-15, which is targeting because platform was not too mature. It's like a few offering, not too much of customization. As a platform got mature, and in 2017 they finally adopt this, whatever the current going is, PCA, Professional Cloud Architect, and then data engineer. The same, they start following the AWS benchmark because AWS come up with the role-based back, and I think 2012 or 2013 solution architect associate, then sysops and developer. After that, I think 2015 or 16, I think so. They come up with the professional cloud architect, like yeah, what I can say, yeah,
Yeah.
the professional one, their architect exam, and then I think later they release the DevOps one. After that, they release in 2016-17 kind of timeline the specialty level, and now all other cloud provider is now following. That's again my observation from doing there the previous version and the newer version. That's the one part. So role base is there. It's all about what you want to do, what's the mindset you have. If you really think the architect level, like you are playing a role of architect, maybe target the architect. There is nowadays there is no prerequisite that you need to know
Right.
the associate level
So
first, then go
yeah,
to the.
so Chirag, here comes like another question related to it, because you said like whatever your role is, focus on that and the certifications related to that role and that platform, which is very good. But we see nowadays there is a trend, like people accumulating certifications. Like you will see 11x AWS, then GCP 8 and all that. So apart from people who are in positions like you, who have to work multi-cloud, who are actually working with customers on all platforms and on all solutions, so they might need, and trainers like those who are teaching people, so they might need to have the entire spectrum. But I see freshers even like going that route and just trying to be paper tigers, like get certification, mass it up, but you have no real experience on each one of those, and you won't need so many certifications, because everyone is not going to become someone who is helping customers across a broad spectrum. Like being a generalist is good, but having certifications all platforms all levels is too much. That's what I feel. So what do you think? Is that a
Okay.
right thing or no?
So I come across, maybe I am the witness for my own journey. As I mentioned, I had a Microsoft and GCP certification before even I like graduated, and I have no idea like what the actual IT is. I think the same for the students. Even I interact with many students, I always request them or suggest them or take it maybe my advice that please don't do the certification even if someone is giving you a free, because not every freebies is good. Okay, so for the students especially, I would like to share, don't do certification if you have a time invest to strong your fundamentals around computation, storage, and network. You really need to know the network on tips. No longer a day, internet is not a luxury thing, it's a necessity. And you need to really know. I believe somehow that uh, everyone on the planet knows about the networking at least, because we all are connected. Yeah, so conditions are always there, but
Right,
it's my
right.
personal view. So focus on that. It is not academics that we are in any race that who has the most certification will get maybe the superior job or super nice job. I
Right.
don't believe so. If your fundamentals are clear, or and then you will be able to explain what you actually want, what kind of role you want for yourself, I think that will be the best approach. Certification, then it may happen later, because the time you put for the certification, you just pass, but the actual core maybe you will not able to explore, or because of, you can say, the learning curve, you have never experienced the realistic production system, the entire development cycle, how in any organization it is going. Being as a student, it may not give you the clarity. Yes, nowadays, again, as I mentioned, internet is not a luxury. Anyone can read and build the lab, but still, I feel that if you focus on your fundamentals, then when you start doing the real work, and
Correct.
I think then you will have a different level of perspective, and the what I can say, the learning curve and your professional journey will be different, and then you will come to the point, then certification is just a cup of tea.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
because I failed even that. It was like that.
Yeah,
Let
yeah,
me add a
yeah.
little bit.
We
When I
all
joined my
fail. We all
organization,
fail, and
yeah,
then we
yeah,
clear
when
it.
I joined my
So, what
organization,
is your like strategy to prepare for certifications?
sure, sure.
So that like people do not like people should fail, but they normally are at a place where they are competent enough to pass. So,
Right.
how do you
So
prepare?
let me share, yeah, my story here. When I started my career, I was so much excited, motivated that yes, I got a job in cloud computing organization, like a focus cloud, born in cloud partner, and now I know the cloud because I'm doing from 3 4 years. I know everything. Like that was my mindset, and I'm handling customer. I can speak. I understand the problem, so I know everything. So for the certification, like like I got opportunity from my office. They said, okay, you want to pay for whatever certification, just let us know. So yeah, we can arrange. So I appeared for SA associate. Yeah, because yeah, it was, I can say, easy, but I become after that so overconfidence that professional level it's just an easy thing. And within, I think I have not completed the 6 months of my journey, or 6 to 7 months of my career journey. I appear for professional essay, AWS professional essay, and I got brutally failed. I was so shocked, like I was not able to complete the entire questions. I was not able to connecting the dots of the scenario, and I failed.
Yeah, I have seen
And
like professional architect questions are too long, and you have to understand the entire story before you can even
yes,
answer. Right.
yes, and then it took me 2.5 years, I can say, that to build my again confidence to sit for that exam. And last year, January 2020, I sat for professional essay, and at that time, I really feel easy. I completed maybe within 2 hours, and I have a very nearby perfect score. And because I feel like I understand the scenario, I'm just able to imagine and use that pen and paper, that yeah, this is the scenario I'm dealing with every day in every most of the conversation. And that is where, like, I'm doing the whiteboarding part, because my role got changed. As I mentioned, that I started from a sales, I become a pre-sales, and I have now different level of understanding the confidence, and I'm able to easily crack that. So
and
that
and
is where
and
I'm
there
doing
is
now.
one thing you did, like after every exam you started sharing your experiences in your YouTube channel. Guys,
Right.
those who are listening this video, I'll share Chirag's channel in the description, so you can have a look on all the certifications that he appeared for, and what was his experience, and what is the approach he took. So very informative videos. Even I follow that. So we can all have a look at those videos. Yeah, Chirag.
Sure.
So we
Yeah.
were at the certification preparation. Yeah. Tell me.
Right. So thanks for the shout out. And regarding the preparation, okay. So the target date is most important, because I think I sometimes I push myself to learn the thing, and I need to have a targeted one. If it is always open, I think maybe my mind will not work in a way I will be very easy. But again, everyone has a different level of learning curve, a different
Correct.
way to learn the things. I'm still maybe a old school guy using my my notebook to make notes. Even sometimes I use a
Same for
digital
me.
note on my iPad and all this, but still I have, I think, bunch of notebooks still with me. Even wherever I travel or relocate, I always carry my notebooks from last 5 6 years. And I always try to understand what is the certification about. What is, if it is a specialization, then how much really I know about that field. If I have come across any, you can say, in especially in my professional career, if I come across a such situation that I dealt with, not the apple to apple scenario, but maybe somehow maybe the 10% of that the entire scenario. If I ever dealt with, what my understanding and my view around that, and I make my, you can say, self analysis, the areas in which I have a strength, the areas I don't have a strength but I need to put more effort. It's like a uh, 80-20 principle, that 20% I already know I can leverage from my day-to-day experience. 80% may be something new learning curve, or it may be vice versa.
Right.
80% I know, 20% something I need to learn. So then according to that, what resource here, the most important thing, please, it's a homework, right? For the preparation, follow only one resource. I am not favorable to a one platform. I am using something, some platform from learning, maybe someone else has some other subscription or providers from your organization. It's all about what and how you want to learn. Some people maybe love to reading books to prepare, kudos to them. Some people love the videos, appreciated. Some people maybe in a different way. It's, some love documentation. I love to read documentation for the GCP AWS. I love to find some scenarios, and then I made like my analysis, and then I try to search. Okay, these are the topics, and what is my timeline? It's not that every exam I'm not running in a race that every week I need to sit
Right.
for exam. For exam, it may take a 1 month for me. Some exam it may take a 6 month for me, and again, everyone's
Yeah,
time
based
is
on your level of expertise on that subject. Yeah, because
yes.
for
So
example,
according
like
to
if we look at machine learning, which is not our core, maybe we belong to networking or application. So then we might have to spend more time rather than if I go for a networking exam, that would be a couple of months for me, maybe. That's
exactly.
right.
Yeah, the same. Then I make my self-analysis report that yeah, these are the areas, and then I try to find like what resources I have. Like my company is providing me a training platform. If the resource is available there or not, or what else in the market available. But pick one, because it's just training. Any training will cover maybe 20, 30, 30. I can say let's put a 30 to 40% kind of a mark.
Mhm.
It can give you some tips to that how to pass exams, but I think that not be the end goal. After passing the exam, the real journey will start. So training course is a one part, then what else the scenario you can generate. Maybe you go through some of your emails, if you remember that, if you're involved in any project, any kind of MOM is there, just read that, what was the statement. Maybe you are the part of some technical conversation if you're non-techie role, but part of the technical conversation along with your maybe a senior specialist team or somehow whomsoever like you are working with. Try to grab that concept, try to read that, and maybe recall that what was a conversation, how your team handled the situation. Maybe as I mentioned that if you're not part of delivery team, but delivery done their job, and try to read, maybe using your professional, I can say the experience is much better way, rather than just depending that you just need to finish the course. Find some blogs, some tips, or figure out who have done so far, reach out to them. I think that should not be the way. Don't try to think that we need to cram and memorize. If you really know the thing, trust me guys, it's just a cup of tea. If you really don't know the thing, passing exam will not
Yeah,
add value.
exactly. It doesn't add value. Like you have the certification, but doesn't add value because even to be successful in your interviews or in the end to be able to help customers, you need to know the real knowledge which you will get from learning. Yeah.
And then I, according to the, I can say my targeted date, again, as every IT project, deadlines always miss. It happened with me. I also missed the deadline, so I reschedule the exam if I feel I'm not prepared. So there is a rescheduling option, but don't reschedule it that after 3 months. Then the entire your learning curve
That
maybe will,
becomes
it may happen that
procrastination
your
then.
mind will divert it. So I always focus with that targeted date and timeline, that what I need to do, what time I have, if any unforeseen circumstances there that I need to reschedule, or if I'm not prepared. But if I'm prepared, go ahead. and practice. Have your open mind that something is going to burn from your own pocket. Don't expect that everything will come free. Most of the scenarios, if you talk about the advanced level, you need to have maybe a small budget. That is a learning curve. Not only the technical, that is where the business part will come into picture. You need to know that today you are going to run, let's say, a large machine, and then you are responsible to terminate or shut down that machine after your lab. So that is kind of a responsibility we need to take. Understand the commercial value, because it is going to
Right.
burn or spend from our own pockets. So until unless the open mind will not be there, I think the journey will not be clear. If you think that being even an experienced professional, I see they are looking for some freebies. Maybe it will not help for the long run, or
Agreed.
just if the target is just passing exam, that's up to you guys. But my always, what I can say, thoughts is prepare in a way which will give you, because certification may be just a 1%, 99% will be your communication. After that, if you get into the project, and let's say if you are manager or if your management put you that okay, now you certified, from the next day you need to be the part of that project. If you really don't understand what other team is talking and the customer is talking, there is a no worth of certification. So keep remember, 1% is just a certification study, because exams are not getting updated on a regular basis. It take few months to maybe a few years. Even like I see the pattern, 18 to 24 months kind of the revision.
Right.
Microsoft started to put the new content, maybe I think quarterly or a two quarterly basis or half yearly basis, but still exams are far behind the way the new enhancement feature and services are getting released, and it is helping to change the architecture to make it more efficient and
Mm-hmm.
cost effective and more secure, and all these nitty gritty things come into picture. So explore in that way, read the case studies around those topics. It's again the specialty, let's say the big data. So just know about like what is the end-to-end data analytics pipeline looks like, and then what are the customer use cases, what was the problem statement. I think the documentation, it is a part of homework to do R&D. Don't depend only on just a training course. Yeah,
Correct.
I think
Correct.
that will be
And Chirag, which certification so far did you find the most challenging? You said AWS Professional is something for which you took. I mean, you took a step back and then you prepared for more than a year and then went for it. So far,
okay.
like,
So if you ask about the toughest one, then okay, Microsoft Azure expert level, but or the equivalent of the solution architect pro. So Microsoft because I love the strategy from Microsoft. They cut the exam in two different, like they cut the
two
what I can say this
different,
role based
yeah.
certification in two different exams. One is only focused from the business aspect, another is from the technical aspect. Around again the topics are same, but the the the, the value proposition here is different. That how you are going to, as a solution architect, how you understand the business value from out of this service or this, what I can say, the problem statement and the approach, and then what will be the technical nitty gritties need to know. Again, boiling down to the same fundamentals. Again, cloud is just an add-on. It's nothing. If you consider cloud is just an add-on on the top of the fundamental technologies, I think it will
Yeah,
be
it's
much
all the
more
same whichever platform you
easy
choose.
learning curve. So for me,
Yeah.
Azure exams are that, because AWS, why I can't say it's like from the day one, and since 2016, it's my day-to-day job, right?
So maybe
But
you,
Azure is something
yeah, in
like,
your
yes,
perspective, it is easier.
it's my opinion again. And GCP, because I'm doing from last 7 years, it's something that I feel
Same
the
here,
GCP
same
exams
here.
are the most easiest exam. Right? I sit
Yeah,
for their
we
beta exams.
exactly.
Yes. So I appeared for what I can say, all the versions of their PCA till date, and still I feel it is really easy. Again, it's my opinion. For someone, for the first timer, it may be the toughest one. So all the best. Do your best in a preparation, like as I mentioned about the preparation strategy. So
Right,
yeah, Azure one I found, yes, challenging.
right. So, Chirag, we are almost approaching time. So, I have one last question because we are a group here of customer engineers, solution architects mostly, and what should be like from a certification and learning perspective? What should be the pursuit of a customer engineer? Like what should we be aiming for in terms of learning so that we can add value to our customer? So what is your
Okay.
view?
I
Like
think
what
let's
should be
put the
learned, so I mean, so that we can solve problems better instead of taking
sure.
external help all the time? So what
Okay,
should be the
great.
goal?
So yes, I think it's a very important question here. That is where the communication skill come into picture. Even the title is saying customer engineer, so you can expect that a person need to face the customer, or a customer can be a different role, maybe the CXOs to the maybe the
Right.
pure IT, hardcore IT people to maybe some different folks from the customer end.
Because
So
every time you
communication,
land up at customer's place, you don't know, like sometimes maybe they head you on to a DBA. Only talks about databases, and somewhere you see a guy who doesn't know anything much at a technical level on cloud, but has problems to solve. So that's a wide
so that
spectrum.
is where the communication again communication need to be clear, not only in the technical jargons but
Correct.
simple, be a good storyteller so that the customer and the people can consume whatever you are trying to share. Like the thought process need to be very clear, your storytelling need to be so easy to understand without using too much of technical jargons. I believe being as a customer engineer, this is the first part you need to know. We can't talk always over the technical. The other will listen, and then there will be the no action item, and there will be what I can say the no movement, and maybe it
Absolutely
may loss
correct.
of deal or not a good customer winning confidence, or yeah, it may impact the
Exactly.
business.
You are making your visits, but nothing happens after that. But
Yes,
if
it
it
can happen.
goes that way.
So the same with the solution architect. Don't rush for the title. If you really feel that you want to be in front of customer, you need to handle the technical problem in a many way, and then answer in just the most simplest way. That again, without touching too deeper technology, but to explain what will be the roadmap. And I love to do whiteboarding. Even right now, we all are doing and
Right.
working as a virtual, but the whiteboards are there. You can use the drawing if you love it, or maybe if you love the presentation, make it so simple workflow that you can explain in a nicer way and a simpler way, and the others will be able to consume and understand that
Yeah,
what
you
are
are
you
right. Because even in my experience, I have seen like answering the whys, like why it is happening, the problem. That helps more than how to solve it. Like answering the hows is easy. There are five different ways to solve a problem. Most architects, like when they meet customers, or most customer engineers try to express their own knowledge by describing multiple ways, but the customer is interested like why that is happening, and then just maybe one simple way to solve it. uh, that should be the approach.
Yes. So that is where I believe being a solution architect, this will come into picture that don't always be so excited and having a vouch that oh customer just said that customer want to move to cloud, and you will just start saying okay we will set up the architecture 3 tier or maybe some microservices architecture or whatever maybe they want to build something
Correct.
on the analytics. Maybe the most important part to figure out why customer want to move to cloud. For that maybe a probing need to be there. You need to find out that from the customer side what is the real problem, because at the first glance no one from the customer perspective, I'm saying no one is going to share the problem statement in a very clear way. They will just say they want to move to cloud. So the job of maybe a customer engineer slash solution architect majorly is to figure out what is a real problem statement, and for that you need to have you need to sound technical, and then plus your communication need to be so easy and comfortable for the customer that customer will be open with you to share that what is the actual problem going on, and then maybe use your marker and whiteboard to build the architecture or your preferable method. And I think the journey will be much easier, because I did some mistakes. It's not that from day one of my
We
job
all
that
do.
I know everything. I did like that. I got a feedbacks even from the customer that don't be too technical. I understand how you are a young blood, you are so enthusiastic and all this, but it will not make sense. So it's my 5 year of journey. I in the same organization. This is my third role, even I am going to enter as a solution architect kind of role, the part of senior SAP. So it's a new learning curve for me. So I done the sales, then handle the pre-sales, now the solution architect slash practice. So I'm getting the opportunity to do the R&Ds on the services.
You're doing great. Kudos to you.
Yes, so that is what like I'm trying to do, and that is I think the communication till date, whatever I am done with the customers, it is helping me to improve my own thought process. So definitely the communication I believe is the most important part, and because technically we can learn anytime. But if you're not able to work on the communication, then to make it much easy, because keep remember always the other guy, maybe he is much more, he or she can be much more technical than us, but if you explain the things in a very simplest form, I think the both sides will be the win-win solution.
Great. That was a great explanation, Chirag, and thank you for being here. And it was a generic discussion today, but later on maybe in some other session we will have a specific discussion on certain topics. And thanks again for being here in this CCE Saturday episode.
Sure, thank you for organizing this, and I say all the best to everyone. Stay safe and do your best. Make your own journey. Maybe for someone it may take a 1 month to do one certification, or it may take a 1 year. It's okay. We are not rushing or running or not in the race. So remove that mindset. Even the experienced people sometimes they feel. So remove that mindset. Then start your learning curve. Things will be much easy and more valuable.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Chirag. Thanks a lot. So let's keep learning.
Sure. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.